Hi there, Steve Kaufmann. Today I want to talk about learning languages via the word of the day. Now, there are lots of services that can send you a word every day, or you learn a word a day in a new language. In fact, just today I was at my CrossFit session and there was a fellow there. We were talking about language learning and he said that he's been on this word of the day, but he said he has trouble remembering the word of the day. And of course, my opinion is that having this word of the day program spit a word out at you every day, there's nothing wrong with it. It's giving you some exposure to the language. It's certainly not a negative. However, it's extremely inefficient as a way of learning a language. It is really, in a sense, next to useless. The reason I say that is, and bear in mind, if you like doing that, by all means, the number one rule of language learning is do what you like to do. However, we need to learn so many words, in my opinion. We need to learn 10,000, 15,000 words in most languages. And even then, a lot of context is beyond our grasp because we're missing some of the key words. Now, at a word a day, that's 365 words a year, except that it's far less than that, because any list of words, if you are able to remember a quarter of them, you're doing very well. I can't. I forget most of what I learn. Most words that I learn, I forget. And it's only because I run into these words again and again in my reading and listening. Of course, at Link, I've highlighted it now in yellow, and I see it again as a word that I've encountered before. And I slowly, by seeing it in different contexts, I learn that word. And in fact, I learn lots of words at Link because it's not only the words that I save, but as we know more words, we're able to infer more words. So we actually learn what I call incidentally more words than we learn deliberately, all from meaningful content, interesting and meaningful content that we're reading and listening to. And so a word a day, possibly 100 words a year, given how quickly we forget what we learn. Maximum, I would say, 100 words a year. You need 10,000 words. That's a lot of years. 10 years gets you to 1,000 words. So 100 years would get you to 10,000 words. So a word a day is relatively useless insofar as languages learning is concerned. In fact, any kind of learning words out of context, including, in my opinion, using spaced repetition systems, is not as effective as massive exposure to the language through lots of meaningful listening and reading. Otherwise, you accumulate this tremendous list, as they call a deck, of flashcards that you spend. If I have an hour a day to spend on language learning, I got to spend an hour reviewing my flashcards. I don't have an hour then to spend on listening and reading. So, as you've heard before, I think that by far the most effective way of learning a language is to get through that beginner material, get yourself into interesting, authentic material, and spend as much time as possible listening to it and reading it. And don't be trapped into thinking that the word a day is doing anything other than amusing you. And before I forget, it reminds me the sort of literacy organization in Canada did a deal with a newspaper where they had this word of the day in English where they teach people a new word, maybe how to spell it, or a word that would be pushing the boundaries of their vocabulary. One word a day doesn't do much, not in literacy, not in language learning. Get into reading and listening, whether it be in a language you're learning or even in your own language, to push the boundaries of your vocabulary and comprehension. That will give you a base from which you can start speaking better. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.